Did you pull Velina? Do you have A ranks? Then this guide is for you. Piper needs to be spinning constantly. Your best runs are going to come from when you can see Piper on field almost the whole game. She's like a little Beyblade. You spin her up and throw her out and repeat. There's a few ways to start up Piper's spin. One of the best ways is by throwing out a few basic attacks first, but keep in mind that once Piper starts her spin, even the slow spin, she's basically unstoppable. She can take hits like a champ, so if you really need to keep a buff up, sometimes it's worth it to start up the slow spin, let the boss hit Piper a few times just so you can get to the part where you keep the buff up. One of the most fun things to do with Piper is to just spin in the boss's face and then parry over her head. So once the parry is complete, she will stay on field and she will continue her follow-up attack, which continues doing damage and continues adding anomaly, which is absolutely perfect. Velina acts like Piper's babysitter in this comp. Every time Piper puts out an anomaly, you want Velina to match that anomaly. So Velina is really active for this comp. Lucy's probably the most difficult to play here. She's running support and you want her to have enough anomaly to join in during the stun window, which is a lot harder than it looks like. There's a few little tricks you can do with Lucy to get her on field a little bit more, and you've got to figure out how many times Lucy got to be on field in order for her to have her anomaly ready for the stun window while you've got Velina and Piper running around like wild animals. I like to think of this like a traffic light. So when you get to the end of the traffic light and it closes at the stun window, the light goes green, yellow, red, or Velina is green, Piper is yellow, and red is Lucy. And keep in mind that if you want maximum damage, Velina has to have 2 bubbles when Piper goes so that Piper gets the maximum bonus. So you just cycle between Piper and Velina most of the time. Anytime Piper has an anomaly, you want to make sure that Velina has an anomaly to match Piper's. And then you let Lucy build up her anomaly so that she's ready for the stun window. When the stun window opens, you want to go Velina, Piper, Lucy in any order you can. You can use chain attacks, you can use ultimates, and I think that's the thing for Lucy. Chain attacks and ultimates build up a lot of anomaly. So you may want to consider this. And also, if you can do a full chain attack and you have a Bang Boo that applies fire anomaly, that's a big help for Lucy. This is an extremely dynamic playstyle, so if you don't like pressing a ton of buttons, you might not want to run this. If you compare this to a normal comp, which is like attack, stun, support, that's like going to a fancy sit-down dinner, where this version is more like going to Black Friday when GTA 6 releases. It's just craziness, but it's a ton of fun. Okay, so here's some recent gameplay with some notes. Now that you know the pattern, you can probably figure it out. But if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything that I can. And I can absolutely understand that this is a little bit overwhelming if you haven't seen this before, because it's so chaotic. But Anomaly is the best playstyle. It's so much fun. Alright, here's a pretty scuffed Girtablullu run. I usually like to start this off with a little bit of Anomaly for Lucy, just because she needs so much. I think this is where I went wrong though. I didn't have enough Anomaly for Lucy. She came up just a bit short. I thought I had it calculated. I'm kind of bad at math though. So this is the problem. You want Velina to put out as much anomaly as possible, and you also want to get some in for Lucy. So if you have to choose between who gets a parry, it's usually Velina or Lucy. I try not to give Piper parries because she doesn't really need anomaly buildup. I mean, she's doing that, but at the same time, she's not the priority because the other two are hurting for field time. So yeah, Girtablullu has a fun mechanic where you have the double parry, and I think the other thing too is that the little blue bar over his head, when that pops, you get a glut of resources. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to spend as much as I can with Lucy right now, just because when that blue bubble pops, everybody's gonna get a whole bunch of energy. I think this is where I went wrong though, because Lucy needed a little bit more field time to be ready for that stun window, and I missed that one, so that one's gonna get held. So right now I am building up I'm just running through the cycle. It's basically Velina and Piper. When Piper's on field, you can kind of see her wiggling around in the background. If she's still on field, you can't normally switch to her, but you can quick attack switch to her. So that's what it comes down to. If Lucy is available, yeah, here we go. This is the stun window where Lucy's ready. So yeah, the yellow light, we're gonna have Piper pop, and she has 2 bubbles, so it's gonna be a big vortex, a big assault. And now we have Lucy to season the tornado, which works out beautifully here. And I think this is where I get most of the damage in the run. I actually end up missing the second stun window because I got greedy. So because I missed the first stun window, I thought I wanted to get 3 in. You're gonna see me actually go through the full cycle of damage. It's gonna go Velina, Piper, Lucy, but I'm gonna do it the second time outside of the stun window because I know there's gonna be time for 1 more stun window. It's just I thought I could get enough anomaly for Lucy and before that happened, but I was very wrong. So this is a completely scuffed run. It could have done more damage if I had correctly lined up each of the stun windows. Because you'll see here, like, there are 3 stun windows, but I don't have Lucy ready for all 3 of them. So this is why the comp is super fun. Here it is. This is the out of stun burn with Lucy. And I mean, you can do that. It doesn't really make sense though, because you get way more damage inside of the stun window. But it is what it is. I got greedy. I thought I'd be able to do another stun window, and I thought I'd be able to have Lucy ready before the time ran out. But I was very wrong. So yeah, now it's just gonna be Lucy and Velina, which is fine. They do plenty of damage. I'm racing to get as much in for Lucy as I can. It does not work out though. So yeah, if I was gonna go back and rerun this one, I would absolutely give Lucy just a smidge more screen time right at the start, just because she needed that. But this was a 3-star, and if you're free to play and you got a 3-star, that's totally fine. All right, hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll do what I can. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that.